Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into a pretty bold claim about the global map, that the United States literally possesses the most advantageous geography of any nation on the planet. Instead of just, seeing lines and colors, our source material invites us to view North America totally differently, as a massive, naturally occurring geographic fortress.
So you might be wondering, why exactly does the US have the strongest geography in the world? Well, to really understand this, we need to break down the physical world into two fundamental geographical shields that naturally defend the country. It's this incredibly unique combination of water and land that has fundamentally shaped the entire nation's trajectory.
All right, let's get right into part one, the vast ocean shields protecting the coasts.
You really got to think of the Atlantic and Pacific not just as bodies of water, but as, basically planetary-scale moats. The sheer scale of that defensive power is absolutely incredible. In fact, our source specifically points out that the Atlantic Ocean is the reason why Japan wasn't able to cause any damage to the U.S. mainland during World War II. The vastness of these oceans acts as the ultimate defense mechanism, It's a physical reality that just totally prevents adversaries from easily projecting power onto those shores.
But hey, a fortress isn't just about the moats, right? It's also about the walls. That brings us to part two, the border contrast and land defenses. To truly understand an advantage, you kind of have to look at the alternative. Take China, for example. Our source notes that China has a lot of neighbors, meaning it has to constantly protect itself from literally all sides. It's a highly complex, multi-directional defensive reality. Now contrast that with the USA, which has highly insulated land borders. One nation literally has to look in a dozen directions at once, while the other gets to enjoy a profoundly simpler geographical setup.
Because unlike China, the United States only has two neighbors to consider. Just two. When it comes down to national security and border management, bringing that variable down to just 2 points of land contact is a massive structural advantage.
Moving on to part three, friendly neighbors, Canada and Mexico.
Because, it's not just about the quantity of your neighbors, it's really about the quality of those relationships. To the north, you have Canada, and to the south, Mexico. And our source highlights two absolutely crucial advantages here: closer diplomatic and economic ties and smaller militaries. When you combine those tight relationships with neighbors who just don't pose a symmetrical military threat, well, those land borders effectively transform into a highly stable, secure frontier. Which brings us to part four, the geographic takeaway, synthesizing the fortress.
So when you stack all these facts together, the vast isolating moats of two oceans, combined with just two extremely manageable land borders, you really start to see the blueprint of this ultimate geographical fortress. Which leaves us with this stark, pretty provocative thought to ponder. Is national strength born strictly from the land and resources you actively control, or is it actually born from the geopolitical lottery of the neighbors you simply don't have to fight? Think about that for a second. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer.